Hello.
I'm gonna eat my chicken bacon.
You're good. I had like literally looked at the clock. I'm like, oh shit. It's like there's not even time for me to go get a beer. It's sad.
I actually have a pretty good topic that came up today, so I'm pretty talk about it.
Good. So I never even looked and see.
Mhm.
Nobody even commented.
No, yeah, I noticed. When you talked about the call, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, and I went to go share it. I'm like, crap, what's the topic? And I look at the comments. I'm like, crap.
Yeah, I was like, I thought I saw a bunch of notifications like pop up on my but or I guess notifications in Facebook like on that. I thought people were commenting. So I'm like, oh cool. I'll just go back to it like that day and we'll just read off of it.
Ooh,
Clearly that's not gonna work.
yeah, my hair's all a mess. That's fine.
You're good. I posted the link. I think you'll have to go live though. Get that truck fixed.
Waiting on insurance to see if they're gonna pay us or not.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Bro, it literally the freaking both sides of the truck, it says in giant numbers, 12 feet 7 inches clearance. Dude has 13 years of experience. And then see the bridge where it says 10 feet. There's a sign that's just like it's literally like 6 feet. No, it's actually more than 6 feet long, right? 4 feet tall. That's 10 feet, 10 inches. And dude's response was, I thought I could make it. What? What is the truck's magically gonna get 2 feet shorter? Like, dude, man.
I guess this was somewhat local.
No, this thing was he was in on his way to Indianapolis from New Jersey.
Gotcha.
And it
Yeah.
because it was a dumber mistake than that. So he was in
Where did it happen at?
I don't recall exactly. If we find out. I can't remember. My
Not
because
not a big deal.
it's all that side of it. But like he was in I think New Jersey and the weather was crappy, and so there was like no work. We're like, hey, well, Indianapolis right now is like a hot spot, so let's just go there and we'll get you something from there. And he interpreted that literally and set his GPS to downtown Indianapolis. I'm like, why wouldn't you go to a truck stop like you normally do outside of city limits and wait further instructions? He's like, well, you said Indianapolis. I'm like, it's like, okay, bud. Literally 6 hours later,
That's
hey, so about my paycheck. I'm like, what about it? What about your paycheck? He's like, is it
yeah,
on its way? I'm
please.
like, no, no, it's not. It's really not.
I know whenever we were moving the warehouse from St. Louis to New York, I know Jason, the guy that was working with me, he was driving, we'd gotten like a 26-foot Penske or whatever to move a lot of the warehouse stuff. And he was driving and he ran into a lot of stuff in that area where there's a lot of low bridges around there. So like he would run into areas where like he'd be driving and all of a sudden he'd be like, fuck, I have to reroute because of this bridge coming up that I can't go under because this is too tall. And I just remember him always complaining and it was like really bad in like the New York area. So I don't know if it's just like old infrastructure, and they were built before
Yep.
bigger trailers or what.
Or driving, like, I mean, even driving just a regular sedan up there is a nightmare, but like a truck, dude,
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for anyone and empathy for anyone who drives an 18 wheeler into the heart of freaking New York City. I mean, it's just absolute. Nightmare. Just a nightmare.
Yeah,
Hey,
I never had to drive there, thankfully.
where did you post the thingy? I'm trying to see if I can share it too.
I posted it just on like the actual post in the group, but you'll have to actually go live in CPRST.
Hey.
Yeah, because it has to be done through Zoom, like to connect it or whatever, like you usually do.
Oh, okay. So in the CPRST roundtable meeting, go live in there.
I just go live in actual CPRST, like the actual like big group.
Oh, in CPRST.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
I just I post a link inside of like the round table and then people can see it in the
so the
main.
Facebook, like the Facebook events roundtable link or the Zoom link.
Let me see. I shared the Zoom link in case anybody wants to
Okay, so I'll
share
go
the
live.
Zoom link. Yeah. And let me
Okay. So just to confirm, you want me to go live on CPRST, right?
mhm.
And just say, hey, drop the Zoom link in there. Okay. Wait.
Yeah, I'll drop
Wait.
it in
How do you
here.
go live? I can only go live on my timeline, or does it?
No, so you got to do like more options or whatever,
Oh, the
custom.
custom
To do
live streaming
custom.
service.
Yeah. And then I'll give you the input or got to
Oh, okay.
do like
The live streaming
you got to
page.
you got to put in like that stream key and stuff.
Cool.
So whenever you go to like go live inside of the
I
like in
see this.
Facebook,
I see all that stuff.
yeah,
Bunch of boomers trying to figure it out.
I know. Well, at least nobody's really watching except Kevin, right?
That's just Nathan and Kevin.
Oh no, Nathan's here too. Dang.
Oh my gosh. Are you just to confirm I'm not stupid? You're going to be passing along that thingy,
The Zoom link.
the URL, not the thingy, but a thingy.
No. What do you need?
The street. How do where the streaming URL? I don't know what to
So
do.
yeah, you get so whatever you do like to start a live in Facebook, like CPRST, you have to like go to create a post and then say like live video.
Live it. Okay. See, small brain moment. Okay, create. Okay, there we go.
And then there should
Oh,
be like the settings in there. Then advanced settings will
I
give
got it.
you
Click on
yeah.
create event, right? Yeah, instead of go live now.
Yeah, I mean you'll want to go live now.
Okay, join. Okay, the event name. Join the CPRST roundtable with Joshua Moulton. Start
Pour some
date.
tequila on this.
Start time now. My goodness.
Figure it out.
It won't let me hit next. What is going on?
You gotta put description in.
Yeah, put a description, start date. Oh, end date. Oh my gosh, that's so stupid. Wait, no, that's
Yeah,
not it.
I never do the event. I just hit go live now
Oh,
or
I probably need a.
whatever.
Oh, I think you need a. I need a cover photo. That's probably what it is. It needs a picture because there's nothing else it could be. Just put up this picture of food. And if that's not it at this point, we lost, fellas.
Yeah, try again next week.
That's still not it. What the hell? What do I need to do?
Go live now instead of the event.
Mm, Fill in past date. I'm pressing every button and it still doesn't let me go next. Now it's
I don't know.
page just refreshed. That
So I said just choose to go live now instead of create the event.
would probably have been easier. Go live now.
It is. That's what I always do.
Oh yeah, so go live now. Okay, so go live now makes way more sense. Okay.
How
That's
many texts does it take to screw in a light bulb?
too many.
Is that what we're doing?
Watch
When do
your
we
mouth,
start
sir.
doing the
Watch your mouth.
live bulb?
And then in the live streaming page URL, what do you put there? Is there anything I don't know where to. So I got the streaming URL.
I don't think you have to put anything. I think that's optional.
It's probably optional. Okay, let's see.
As long as you put your description in, you have to have a description still for the.
Oh, nope. It says it is required. Enter a live streaming page URL. I'll just put it on my
Oh,
Facebook, whatever.
it's you copy the URL for CPRST, so facebook.com/groups/, cell phone repair shop talk or whatever.
You go live.
I forgot about that.
Oh boy, look at that. Okay. And then the go live button. Why you no worky?
Grayed out or what?
Do I have to write something? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, required. Okay.
Yeah.
Josh. And join Josh and everyone for the CPRST roundtable. There we go. That's nice and as we discuss the repair shop life. Nice. Kevin, Nathan, how are you, gentlemen?
Good. How are you? I'm actually very, very busy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same here. It's been busy.
yeah. I don't know
I
why
just closed the $10,000 deal,
Oh,
a
yeah.
and now I'm, while at the same time looking at possibly introducing health benefits to our employees for next year.
nice.
Um, so that's definitely a positive growth.
Yeah. We,
Um,
we just did 401k or
nice.
doing 401k. Yeah,
Yeah. We,
lots of tax benefits
oh yeah,
for
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
we've been doing 401k for a couple of years, but I think we do up to 4% match.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we do, yeah, we
How much does that
do
cost the business to have that set up?
Really not that much. It's
now.
we've done it in the past and like we had employees. Okay, so like way back in the sorry, no, even prior to my partnership with Pedro for the stores, he did 401k benefit, healthcare benefits, the whole nine yards, and they just had to like pitch in a little bit. Zero people picked. He had at the time like 20 something employees, and no one chose it. Like no one participated. Enough time's gone by. Things are different nowadays, so um, yeah. So we'll see.
Is did it let you go live? It's not showing you're live.
I see. It says I'm live right here. Yeah, it showed
It's,
me I'm live. I can
hmm,
end the video if you
okay.
want.
No.
Let me see. Let me refresh CPRST. Yep, I see Nathan's face. Oh my goodness, we have 5 watchers. Guys, we are fan.
Oh man.
Oh my.
Dang. Here I am.
Oh,
Oh, there we are. Yeah, I didn't refresh. Womp womp.
there you go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, so moving into next year, that's always been one of my goals was to get to the point where we can offer medical benefits.
Yeah.
Um, but that also means that we're going to be, hang on, let me shut my door. That also means that we're going to be cranking up the level of accountability that we have for our team, ensuring that, we have, that our goals are strategic, that are also achievable, and ensuring that we have those metrics that employees meet. And that'll be, hey, if you want a seat on the bus, these are the minimum requirements that you have to meet in order to maintain that seat on the bus. And then outside of that, if you don't, um, or and then, if you exceed it, you'll get a reward by this. If you exceed that, you'll get rewarded again. But there'll be, and I've always had goals for the team, but it was more focused on, hey, let's hit this goal for, you to get a bonus.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, hey, you have like this is the minimum expectation.
Yeah. You're setting you're raising the
Um,
standards overall.
right, raising the bar, raising the standard, because in order for us to continue to, if we start this whole thing with offering additional benefits, um, and we have team members that are just in for the ride, and I don't do nothing about it,
Mhm.
then that's something that we're not going to be able to continue to do. So,
Correct.
getting to that point, and I hate firing people. I very rarely do it
Yeah.
because I'm more of a people person, right? Like I make excuses for them. Like, oh, you were late. I bet your dog died. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe you had a flat tire. It's okay. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm a firm believer. Like, hey, man, life happens.
Yep.
But the reality is, this is a business, and if we want to continue to scale the business, then I have to inspect what I expect on a consistent basis,
I
right?
love
So,
that because
Do you
literally the
think there's
conversation we had
anyone
different call was exactly about that was like a big part of it. That exact same thing.
oh,
do you think there's
really?
anyone on your team who isn't going to be able to meet those new standards?
There, I do have some in mind. Yes.
So that's your hesitation about,
Right.
yeah.
Well, not necessarily hesitation about doing it. Um, I guess I'm gonna have to think very strategically on how I'm going to deliver it to the team in a fashion to where they're not thinking that the culture's shifting away from people to numbers. I don't ever want employees to think that they're just a number in that's one of the reasons that we continue to operate the way that we do, right? We
Yeah.
want to empower our employees. We want to, let them share in the success of the organization and have, have the ability to provide that feedback to where we can, their opinions can help drastically shift change. And so so that's more of my hesitation is I still haven't figured out the, how I'm going to deliver that message to them, but I will.
I agree. I mean, it's tough because you know, for those like I think we operate businesses pretty similarly. When you're a small business owner that you actually give a crap about people and you're not just like, hey, let me get the most out of you that I can. Um, you want to treat them fair. You want to do them right. I hate firing people, but like one of the conversations we had today earlier on another call was about this essentially about setting standards. How do you set them? How do you reward? How do you get the carrot and the stick, and it's that balance of hey, we're friendly, and especially if someone's been with you for a long time, you're friendly, but you don't want to be overly friendly to the point where they abuse you, and then now there's a loss happening. Like I'm all about being friendly, working with you, helping out, but then a part of me is like, well, you look at how like larger corporations are structured. Yes, they're really, you kind of take the emotion out of it for a good reason. Wait, it's echoing. Oh, hang on. All right, so how about now? Is it echoing less now? Okay, so I'll just I'll turn off my speaker. Okay, that's good. Um, that's weird. So the issue that we see is in the corporate world, you have like no emotion, just numbers, but
Yeah.
that allows them to have millionaires and billionaires and employees that are paid six figures and benefits and 6 weeks paid time off and things of that nature and maternity leave and paternity leave. And so there's enough money for everyone to be taken care of very, very well, but it's because they're strict. And when things get tough, they kind of cut it off, right? What needs to get cut off gets cut off. There's no like, oh, well, this guy's been with me for 4 years. Let me just let him keep on costing the company $40,000 a year. And so there's that balance we have to have. It's like, I want to have that culture, but at the same time, I want my people to be paid well. And if their actions are costing me the ability to pay my staff well, how do I find that balance without making it feel like you're just a number?
Yeah.
That's
I think the biggest thing with that is I mean, because you hit the nail on the head right there when you said, which I absolutely love, and I'm going to steal it. I think from part of my conversation with the team, it's hey, how can I ensure that you guys are how can I ensure to continue to pay you guys well, better than anybody else in our industry is getting paid right now. How can I continue to do that and provide you with benefits, but while at the same time ensuring that we are profitable enough to make all of this happen?
right.
And so I would be, in essence, if there's somebody on the team that's slacking, I'm in essence stealing future benefits away from you guys as employees if I let it happen.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm gonna turn off. Like, am I still echoing or did it echo and stop?
No, it's good on my end.
Oh, interesting. Okay, weird. So I can hear anything now. Yeah. So I mean, that's so that was to that point to kind of further go on that. One of the things we discussed today, and this is actually kind of one of the things I really want to talk about because this is something that I feel like a lot of shops don't pay attention to enough. It's tied into overall holding people accountable, performance, and how that can tie into everyone's pay. And one of the things that came up was inventory, right? And how I have a unique perspective on how shops handle inventory. And I noticed that unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of shops in America are extremely bad at managing inventory. And I'll say this much, overwhelming majority of people that switch from other systems, like we have import features, so they can import the inventory, they can transfer the inventory. I mean, the overwhelming majority just go, you know what? I'm just going to restart from scratch because my crap's messed up anyway. And it's shocking to me how frequent, like that's so common. It's like I mean, honestly, I think it's less than 20 shops that switched and were like, no, my stuff's on the money. Everyone's like, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to restart, which I get. But the common misconception that I really want people to discuss is, well, I don't need to. I'm a one-man show. I'm not going to steal for myself. Like, correct, you're not, but you kind of are because when you eventually hire someone, you don't want to be in the position where, okay, time for me to figure out how to manage inventory, time for me to break a habit that I've had for the last 5 or 10 years of working by myself. And let me time for me to start setting up systems while I'm supposed to be training this employee. And in my mind, it's like, well, this employee knows your crap's not put together. So they're far less likely, I think, to trust your leadership. But also, there's a chance they could abuse you because they know, hey, I know his stuff's not put together. I know that they don't know how to track these things. And so a less than honest employee could do less than honest things. Um, but even if you're a solo operator, it's so important to manage your inventory. And honestly, it's so easy. Like if you're buying from MS, PLP, IG, WGP, like Mobile Enzo, any of these guys, there's integrated ordering. You just buy from them like you normally do, and then you go to your point of sale, push a button, and then boom, your order's generated. Like it's not hard to input it into the system and do a weekly inventory count. I mean, for the average shop, you have so little inventory. You're talking 5, 10 minutes a week. Get a barcode scanner and just go beep, 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 scan crap in. And that's going to allow you to make sure that stuff's accurate. But it's not just about preventing theft. Someone brought up a really good point today that made me think. It's also about just A, I mean, knowing how much profit you made, but then B, it's being able to track old inventory. Do I have stuff that's sitting around for too long that is depreciated, and then B, if you're a newer shop and cash flow is a big issue, because I think cash flow is an issue for virtually all shops, but especially when you're new, it's a big issue. It's like, do you have too much money tied up in parts that are, something you haven't touched in 90 days, but for some reason you have $600 of that in stock versus your heavier movers, things that you do all the time, you potentially run out of stock of, and then you actually lose a repair because you're like, oh yeah, Mr. Customer, that's on its way. I sold out, but we'll get it fixed tomorrow. And they go, no, screw you, I want to get it fixed today. And then they shop around and they find someone else that has it in stock. And it's like, so your unwillingness to invest in your business and create systems is causing you to overextend your capital potentially into items that are not moving quickly and are depreciating, and then you're not stocking the things that you need, causing you to not get repairs. And then you go on CPRST going, is this slow for anyone else right now? It's like, well, is it possible
I
it's slow for you because you don't have parts in stock in a same day repair industry? Maybe.
I saw that I saw a post like that earlier today.
I mean, there's got to be at least 10 a day at this point. But I think that could be such an easy way to free up capital. Your point of sale, I think most of them should have that easy capability of showing you, hey, you have this in stock, you have this many of them, it costs you this much, and it's been sitting in your inventory for 73 days. You haven't touched it in 73 days. You should probably consider returning it and then go buy the crap that you keep on running out of stock. And there you go. Like there's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars you can free up every month. And then it also helps you earn extra sales. Um, I don't know, but shameless plug, we will have an automated fix for that in about 14 days, 13 days. So I'm so excited. Anyway, so yeah, the AI inventory assessment thing's gonna be sick. It's gonna basically be like help me forecast all my crap based on my usage. And it'll be like, it just instantly tell you, yeah, so based on your usage, you should return this and you should stock more of these based on this. And then just export the entire sheet. It's me freaking like it genuinely gonna be what I've wanted and wish I had in my stores. If I had that, I'd probably have a lot more money. Uh,
Yeah.
but
I feel like it's common. Most people always, I mean, and it becomes some stuff that you're like, oh, you don't think that, like, I mean, obviously, I don't think they allow it as much now, but like Centrix, for example, I know back in the day, you could literally just send back, whatever, right? As long as that SKU was still active, you were going to get credit for it. I think now they've implemented it where you've had to have purchased it within the last so many months, something before they'll return it out. But
yeah,
I mean, being able to just go back and do that even like I know whenever my friend had just opened his, I think after like a year or two, he like went back to the inventory and was like, oh, I haven't repaired any of this stuff in like 3 months. He's like, I'm just gonna return it all and like have like $1,000, right, just like pill in there. It's like could have used that for anything
dude.
else, and those repairs never came after that.
That was so funny enough, when I joined this industry about 8 years ago, 8 years ago, that was my first introduction to this entire business was literally an interaction of the guy who owned this store that I bought was overstocked on some crap that he was never using and then didn't have the most popular thing. So quite literally, this is the one of my very first interactions in the cell phone industry was a mom and daughter walked into his shop and I'm there, get up like he was burning out from owning a repair shop doing 4,000 a month. I was burning out in the corporate world and he's like, I might want to sell my business. I'm like, shoot, let me buy your business. And so I'm just like chilling with him, learning the business, trying to see if it's something that I can do. And a mom and daughter walk in, and I think right at that point, I believe the iPhone 8 just came out, or it was literally about to be. Like it was within a couple of months, the iPhone 8 was going to come out. So the 7 series was still the latest and greatest. She had a broken 7 Plus. And I believe he quoted them 160 bucks, something like that, 160, 170. I don't know. It was over $100 labor. And they go, fantastic, let's do it. And he goes, great. Well, I don't have it in stock, but I can get this overnighted. And if you want, for an extra 20 bucks, I can have it here tomorrow. Insane, right? Like, A, he doesn't have it in stock. And then he's like, the audacity, I'll charge you extra. And then they go, well, no, you can't fix it right now. He's like, well, no, I don't have it in stock. She's like, okay, well, thanks anyway, and walks out. And I'm like, why don't you have that screen in stock? That's the newest phone. He's like, oh, I don't have enough money. But in the back, He had a refurb setup. He had like 40 pieces of glass for the Galaxy S3. And I'm like, why do you have 40 digitizers for a Galaxy S3? He's like, well, bro, it was cheaper for me to buy in bulk. I'm like, yeah, but you have like 200 something dollars in digitizers tied up on crap you're never going to use. And you couldn't stock a $50 display that you could have just done a repair on and made over $100. He's like, yeah. And in that moment, it all made sense to me. I'm like, holy crap, this is an easy fix. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy your store. Like, you don't know what you're doing. I didn't say that, but I'm like, internally, I'm like, this is so simple. Like, you don't have what they want. You just have what they want. And so,
Yeah.
literally, I was like, return all so everything that I think at the time that he was thankfully was buying everything from MS. So everything he had that was from MS, I just threw it in a box, sent it back. I had no money, and I scrapped up enough cash to buy like two iPhone 7 screens, white, two black, two 7 pluses, and just every single day I was replenishing what I could. And it was like I saw it happen. They're like, "Oh yeah, I want to get it fixed," but they weren't willing to wait.
Yep.
So it just clicked, and that's kind of like it's just funny how. And he didn't get it. He's like, "Oh, I'm buying these digitizers in bulk." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't need 40 of them." Like it prevented you from having enough cash to fix, the most popular freaking phone in the market. It's funny.
It's kind of similar to how people think they have to shop at Costco whenever they don't really have a need of buying bulk, and they never, they go there
Just
because
came from Costco. Is this because I went to Costco to buy chicken bake? I had to buy two. It was
it
good.
could be. But yeah, no, it's definitely always been an issue. I think it always will be, right? Like I mean, it doesn't matter how many tools you give people. I mean, they're always there. But I digress. I did leave a couple things here in chat that people did leave. Kevin was one of them, actually. Kevin asking
Yeah,
about discussing or hiring and training employees.
I've done probably about
Ooh.
7 interviews this week.
Nice.
So yeah, just wanted to hear from you guys. What have you found are like good things to look for when you're doing the interview process?
I'm gonna let Nathan answer probably first, but I want to ask before I answer, are you hiring, what are you hiring for? Are you hiring for a tech or a tech and front of house person, or are you looking for like someone who can do both or strictly one role or the other?
Someone who can do both.
All right.
Okay. So I'll just talk about my hiring process. And as you have questions, go ahead and throw them out, interrupt me. So, first of all, my hiring process, I think is a little extensive, but that's exactly how I want it to be. I have, so whenever you apply, I have a system set up to where as soon as the applicant applies, they're going to be sent an email. And in that email, it's going to give them instructions to do a video. I used to do phone calls and other things, but as technology has evolved and the state of everything, I've decided on videos because regardless of the employee I'm hiring, and I'm looking for, are they professionally dressed? Right. Like, I don't care if they look like a goofball or not. Are they professionally dressed? Are they as if they are coming in to check in on their application? Right. Is that are they presentable? Um, and then, but in that video, I say, hey, shoot me an email with a video, a 2 minute video of you answering, a couple of questions. The first one is, what did you like most about your last job? What did you like least about your last job? Um, what's the other one? Yeah, what do you like most? What do you like least? What has you excited about an opportunity of working with us? And why are you the rock star? Why do you think that you're the rock star that should get a job with us? And what I'm looking for is obviously I'm looking for content. I want to make sure that that the answers that they're giving me are, you know, viable to the questions. But then I'm also looking for how's their customer service voice? We're a customer service based injury or industry, whether you're a tech or a salesperson, you should be able to articulate your words. You should be able to speak, and you shouldn't be, I'm not going to hire somebody who's super shy. I'm sorry. He could be the best tech in the world, throw him in the back, he'd crank out all the repairs. If he can't come up front and explain to a customer what happened, if they ask, then I don't need them. So, I'm listening to their customer service voice. Once I think as long as they check all those boxes in the video, then I move them to the next stage of our process, which is an assessment. So and when it comes to my assessments, I have two. I have one that's focused on customer service and sales. And then I have another one that's focused on tech. If they're applying for a customer service job, then, actually for both, whether they're applying for a customer service job or a technical job, I at least need them to get at minimum a 70%, right? Like I don't need anything, I don't need anything crazy, right? But I do want to make sure that they have a good understanding of the basics. And when I'm hiring a tech, I normally hire somebody with little to no experience at all in the industry because I want to be able to groom them, get them in, groom them, teach them our ways of doing things. Now, if I get a rock star that comes through, great. I'll take them. But I traditionally like to look for somebody with little to no experience. And even those people that are looking to get into the tech industry, if they're looking to get into the tech industry as a tech, they should be able to answer some of these questions. Some of the questions that I have, if you're curious, go ahead and pull up my, and I'm just going to go through, I think I'll go through some of the technical ones.
Would you hire someone who has like IT experience? A couple of people who've applied have had that.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but they need to understand that when they walk through those doors, they're not an IT tech, they're a break fix tech, and it's a whole different world. Honestly, I cannot send an on-site tech. I cannot send a IT or a technician that has an MSP experience. I can't send them in to do diagnostics on a bunch of devices. Why? Because they don't know hardware like that. They're great with software, freaking terrible with hardware.
Are they great with printers and setting up printers?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Can they help like everyone that bugs me about setting up their printer?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they're great with printers.
My support guys now know better. They know printers better than people who make printers because that's like the number one question we have. It's kind of funny. I'm just like, I have to be professional and not respond with, have you tried Googling? But
or using ChatGPT. I mean,
no, God forbid they ask ChatGPT. It's like, ooh, I can speak to a human. I'm gonna speak to a human. Anyway, I'm just venting now, but the joys.
Oh, actually, no. So I'm sorry, they do a two-part assessment. So the first part is customer service. That's the first assessment they take. And then after that, it's whatever job they're applying for. If it's sales, they get a sales assessment. If it's tech, they get a tech assessment, and they have to pass both. And so for my tech assessment, let's see. How do you understand? Let's see. Your team is underperforming. No, that's part one. I want part two. That's customer service and sales. My forms. Let's see. Here it is. Technical assessment part two. Okay. A smartphone won't power on or respond. What's the most appropriate first step in diagnosing the issue? Do you A, replace the screen? B, jumpstart the battery using a power supply? C, attempt to force restart and check charging indicators? Or D, open the device and test the voltage on the motherboard?
Oh, it's totally D.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? Here's another one. A customer says the speaker is muffled after a screen repair. What is most likely the cause? Bluetooth interference, the audio driver needs to be reinstalled, the microphone is failing, or the mesh or dust shield wasn't reinstalled correctly.
Or yeah, that, or if they change the charging port, they forget to peel that little plastic thingy over the microphone. Those are the worst. It's the worst when that yellow tab isn't there
It's
and it has
torn. Yep.
it has
Yep.
just the
That's
clear, and you're like, oh, there's nothing there, and you close the phone, like, and then you're like, oh wait, let me test it, and you're like, you son of a gun.
Mhm.
Thanks, Walkus.
Yeah, let's see. What's another question? A phone won't charge. You've cleaned the charging port and tried two chargers. What's the next step? Customer says their new screen looks yellow. What's a valid explanation? A smartphone won't detect SIM cards after a repair. What should you check first? So, there's just a couple of, just some basic questions, and they're multiple choice. And I do have a trick one, which is especially for techs. Um, Hang on. There we go. Which is for techs. It's, what does smart mean? And there is, because there's smart goals and then there's smart health and all of that for hard drives. And so if they pick smart goals, I know they cheated. If they pick the other smart, then I know that they know what the heck they're talking about and that they didn't cheat, hopefully.
That one would have
Um,
gotten me. I would definitely have picked goals and not hard drive health.
yeah, what does smart stand for? Is it, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant,
Yep.
time bound,
That's
or
what I would have said. Yeah.
is it self-monitoring, analysis and reporting technology? They're going to be like, oh, it's definitely smart goals. What does smart mean? Because that's like one of the first things that, what does smart mean? So yeah, that's funny. Anyway, so I'll have them take those two assessments, and if they pass, then they move on to the next stage of our hiring process, which is where they come in and they do a 3 to 4 hour shadow day, and I make sure that I'm not in the store when that happens. For those that are independently owned, or maybe you're bringing on a second or third, what I would do at that point is, try to get them to do a shadow day as close to your other employee as possible. And what I'm looking for there, or what I'm looking for out of there, is a couple of things. One, I'm giving them an opportunity to see, hey, what is the day in the life of working for our business in this industry? Right. So they're getting that exposure versus being in you guys being in a situation where you hire somebody, you bring them on, they they're here one day and then they dip because they're like, oh well, this isn't what I expected or thought of. So it gives them an opportunity to kind of see, hey, what is the day in the life of working at this business? The other purpose of it, especially when I tie them or have them partner up with an employee, is because it gives the employee the ability to see, hey, is this somebody that I could even work with? Right. I'm not even worried about, are they a core value match yet? I'm not looking through any of that. It's just, hey, is this somebody that you feel like you could jive with? Because if the employee says no, then guess what? I'm not going to hire them. Now, there is an exception to that rule, and that's if I'm looking for a salesperson and I match them with a tech because I don't have another salesperson to partner them with. If the tech is like, oh man, he's too much, or hey, he's just a little annoying. Things that I would expect a damn good salesperson to be, because technicians are technicians and they're not very emotional. So having it's like if your technician was interviewing or working next to a car salesman, he's going to probably hate that, but that's going to be good for the business. So that's probably one of the only exceptions to that rule, is I still want to get their intake on like, hey, is this somebody that you don't feel like you could work with? And then I have to remind them as, hey, not necessarily from like, are they annoying because they talk too much? Obviously, there's, you guys understand what I'm saying. But so that's what I'm looking for in that, 2 to 3 hour, or I'm sorry, 3 to 4 hour time. did they show up on time? Are they presentable? Gives them an opportunity to see, hey, what is the day in the life of working for this company? And then it also gives my team the ability to kind of interview them and then also share with them the good, the bad, and the ugly of working for our company. No hold bards. They can talk all the shit they want. And legitimately, I can pull up camera history and probably share some where employees are, they're not afraid to let loose. But a lot of it is mostly customer focused, is like they're ugly. They're like, sometimes you got to deal with assholes that come in and, they feel like their money is, gonna have you lay down so they can walk all over you type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they pass that, then they move on to the one-on-one deep dive interview, is what I would refer to it as. Deep dive interview consists of it's about an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hour meeting with me where we sit down and I'm going to go through it's more of a behavioral style interview. And what I'm looking for is, not necessarily experiences that they've had, but also how they've handled them.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking for out of there is to see if they meet, three different qualities. Are they humble? Are they hungry? And are they smart? The three attributes from the book, The Ideal Team Player. Are they humble? Are they hungry? And are they smart? Are they humble enough to where they don't have a huge ego that's gonna, try to take over the world? Are they, hungry and really want to be here, really want the job? And are they smart? Do not necessarily intellectually smart, but people smart. Do they have that emotional intelligence to be able to identify and pick up on if somebody is coming off upset, especially a customer? Because if they have those three qualities, then it opens up the ability for us to have, the culture that we do, which is where people aren't afraid to speak up and speak out if they see somebody else doing something wrong or right. Because if you don't have that, if you don't have those good qualities to be able to do something like that, then you're probably going to be miserable, to be honest. I don't know how people like that live, so I can't even express verbally how I feel like I would be. And then once they pass the one-on-one interview, then we go ahead and we make an offer, and if they accept it, then we start onboarding. So I usually do, like I said, that once they apply, the system sends them that email for that video submission, which, surprisingly enough, people don't pay attention to that. They either don't open their email or they do open the email, but they don't do it. And what's interesting about that is, because what I'm looking for there as well is attention to detail. Can they pay attention to detail? Because in my job postings, it says, let's see. I mean, it tells them straight out what my hiring process is. So when I'm looking, if they read through the entire job description, one of the first things, I have it in two places actually. I have it in the top and the bottom, where it says our application process. Apply online, submit a short video, complete a skills assessment, attend a shadow day, and a one-on-one interview. And right after apply online, it says start by submitting your application online. You'll automatically receive an email with a few questions, record a short video under 3 minutes, upload to a cloud service like Dropbox or Google Drive, and email it to us. I'm not putting the email in the description, but I am putting it in the email. So if they're paying attention to those details, then they're going to submit the video. And if they don't feel comfortable doing a video, which I have had people say, hey, I don't, I've got a little bit of anxiety or whatever, and I'm terrible at doing videos. Well, tough luck, dude. Like, sorry.
You're not going to work here.
Yeah, exactly. So each stage of my hiring process has a purpose and has a reason. And that's how I've been able to, get a lot of the good talent that I have, filter out a lot of the mess, and cut down a lot of time, administrative time going through this. And I'll
Having
even,
him come in for a shadow day seems like a great idea. I think I'm definitely going to do
oh
that.
yeah, 100%, 100%,
It's so
because
worth it's worth every dollar.
yeah, if you pay them, I don't pay them. Um, it's, it's a 3 hour, 3 hour
I,
session.
yeah.
I mean, the way that I look at it, and I hate to say it, because I know that there's probably people on here that'll disagree. I really don't want to waste our time, but I also and I say I don't want to waste their time, but I want to make sure that if they want to work for me, that they actually want to work for me. They're not just applying to 50 jobs and we just happen to be the one that responded. I want people that actually want to be here, be in the industry, and not just take a job to take a job.
That's a very valid point you just said there because that's one thing that I think maybe a lot of people underestimate about this business is this is the gentlest way I can say it. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody, but it's like the work that we do requires $30 an hour people, but you can't always pay $30 an hour. So you have to
Yeah.
you kind of need those passionate people that will do it for the love of the game, so to speak, who like they would do it anyway. Because like I would love to pay my guys all of them 30, 35 an hour. I'd love to everyone to make 35 an hour, but like not every role is unfortunately that valuable, or do they produce that much money that it's even possible to pay them that much. But the downside is this business is fairly like not complex, but there's just a lot of moving parts. And so it does require you to be it's different than, you go work at some fast food restaurant, which no hate on that. I did that myself, but it's simpler because it's a lot of fast-paced hustle, but it's simple. You have your tasks and you don't really have to deviate. It's like you don't have to learn new skills. With this business, you do have to learn new skills. You got new phone models, new computer models, tablets, then there's software updates and blah blah blah. So there is a lot of ongoing change, and so you do need someone that is, for lack of better words, better than your average person, but you can't typically afford to do that in this business. It's really difficult to pay as much as we should pay for the quality of
Yeah.
work that we're going to get. And so that's where the people who really love this are the ones that kind of that's what you need. Otherwise, like Nathan said, if you're just hiring someone who like, yeah, you're my 50th place I've applied. Like it's not that they're going to be a bad employee, but they're not going to be a great employee, realistically. You want someone who like, man, I love this crap. Like I love technology. I love helping people. Um, that's like the shadow day is probably the most underrated because it you can teach skills, you can teach all that stuff, but if your existing team doesn't get along with them, it will destroy your business. It can hurt your business a lot if they're butting heads. They don't like how they talk. They don't, they think they're disrespectful or they think something negatively of them. That's a really big uphill battle, especially if your employees think that like this guy's a dumbass. Why would you hire a dumbass? And you're like, no, they're great. And it can it can cause so many headaches. But if they like, that's what we love the shadow day because man, if I go in, I just go straight to the employees. I'm like, all right, so what are you guys' thoughts? So we do about a 2 hour shadow, sometimes more depending on. And then I just asked them, like you give me a rundown, and I just say honest truth, because this is someone you're going to be working with all day long, every day.
Yeah.
And there have been plenty of people where they're like, dude, this guy's arrogant, and or this guy like this person just disrespectful. Like they were making fun of the employee already. Or the customers who like they were like mocking the customer and making fun of them. And it's one of those things where, when you're friendly with some people, like after a while you can crack certain jokes. But if you just met someone and within 30 minutes you're already insulting the customers or like behind their back, you're probably a piece of crap person. You're probably a really toxic individual, and I don't need that around my team. And my team knows like we don't want toxic people. So that yeah, I would say that's probably the most it's so helpful. It'll save you so much headache.
Yeah. And to your point, and I'm gonna drive something because I'm a huge believer in this. You know, I think we can, as an industry, I think we can pay people up to that $30 mark
Yep.
if they're worth it. And that's where I'm a firm believer of like, hey, I'm gonna pay you a bonus based off of your production. So I have like, hey, this is the minimum that you guys are required to have to, I mean, this is covering your base. Like in order for your base to make sense to me, this is what you need to produce. And then after, and then once they reach the next, maybe it's the yellow goal. I'm going to give them a total. I'm going to pay them out a total percentage of the cash invoiced amount that I got back in. So being able to track like, hey, who's the one doing the work? Don't have your technician do the work and then you invoice it. Like it should be tied to their name. So that way, using Tony software, you can pull an easy report that shows, hey, what's the total revenue that this customer or that this employee invoiced? And then guess what? Now I can pay them a bonus based off of that. And then if they reach the next threshold, I mean, shoot, if I have a guy bringing in over $300,000 of revenue in a given year, damn right I'm going to want to pay him over $60,000
Oh yeah.
because he's bringing me a lot of money. But if
But
I
you
have
know,
somebody bringing in only 120,000 a year, well, maybe they need to start looking for another job.
so that's the thing that kind of upsets me. Not upsets me. This is the kind of thing that kind of frustrates me because I can't, you know, I think everybody to a degree has a an ego and a level of pride, and that's normal. But it's hard sometimes to relay that information to some owners who I come at it from a perspective of, hey, years of experience, not just of my own, but just over the years, I've always known that I don't know the best thing. So I always made it my mission throughout the years to always ask questions. And I've spoken to, at this point, I don't know how many hundreds of other owners, but I have learned from a lot of people how they do things, how their numbers work. And it drives me insane to see repair shops pulling numbers like $23,000 a month in revenue and they have 4 employees on the payroll. And I go, how? I go, how? I was
Wow.
I didn't hire anyone until I was doing 50,000 a month consistently. Why do you have 4 employees at $23,000 a month? I don't
How's
know
it
if it's
going?
even like
How are you doing?
financially
Good. How are you?
feasible. Like, how can you even afford that? Like, oh, well, two of them are part-time. Okay, you still have two full-time people. Like it doesn't, the math doesn't make any sense. And it makes me wonder, what are they doing with their time? Because then on the flip side, I know some shops who are doing, shoot, there's one guy, his store, he has multiple stores. All of his stores do really well. Very wild. They do on average 33 tickets a day.
Well,
Yeah. And it's quite substantial. And they have 5 staff members. That's it. With 33 transactions a day, handling everything. So there's like the variance in operations is wild. But I don't know. It just you just said the whole thing about paying someone well, and like if they bring in 300,000 a year, and I'm like, man, so many repair shops. I don't. They just. I think again the issue is a lot of people in this industry, God bless them, came into this industry as a tech and then decided to open up their own business. But unfortunately, they just haven't put in the enough effort into learning how to operate a business and knowing certain key metrics. And when I say that,
yeah.
some people get offended. I always get DMs saying you're an arrogant douchebag. I'm like, no, it's a fact. Like you need to know your numbers. Like you need to like you can't possibly operate your business and not know your numbers. I mean, you can. It's just gonna suck, And it's like it pains me to see people in this industry for like 12 years and then they're still dead broke. Like, how are you shouldn't be dead broke. You're doing something wrong, clearly. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yes,
let,
knowing your numbers is
yeah, they don't know. Like, they don't,
by
So
far the
talking about knowing your numbers, I think what would be valuable is just to highlight, hey, these are some of the key metrics that you probably should be paying attention to. Um, I know for me, a couple of the metrics that I keep track of, and it's going to be a little bit of a list, but we do track Google reviews. So we track the number of Google reviews that the store receives. Um, we track the total check-ins. How many, of course, how many, yeah.
Just a quick question, just for the sake of it. When you say you track Google reviews, how do you do that, and how often do you do that?
So we report on how many each each week on the KPI metrics, but we talk about it on a daily basis.
Nice.
Like, hey, how many Google reviews did you get?
Intentionality.
Right, exactly. Um, Same with total check-ins. Now, to me, kind of where our business is at, I'm not necessarily focused so much on that number as I should be. And the reason I say that is I would prefer to have, I could have $15 to $20,000 week and only have 5 check-ins. That was a fucking good week,
Yeah.
right? I'm obviously that doesn't exist. I'm not going to pretend like it does. Um,
But it's
for
all
the,
relevant.
but it is relevant to the fact that it's total check-ins something you should track. How many devices are you having coming into your store on a weekly basis? Rework tickets. That's going to be a huge indicator to me of a training issue.
Yep.
Or maybe it's a part defect issue. It's either one of those two things. It's either we're getting shitty parts and we need to find another vendor, or I've got a shitty technician and I need to replace them.
You guys track sale. We have something, a metric we call sales per man hour.
Now, when you say sales per man hour,
Yeah,
what are you referring
the
to?
amount of money that is generated per hour per employee.
Yes and no. So I track what's called DLER. It's similar, but I track DLER and MLER. So there's direct labor efficiency ratio and then management labor efficiency ratio. And what I'm looking for is out of the amount of money that I'm paying for direct labor, which are my technicians, how much money am I getting back? And we have a goal. It maybe based off of the calculation, it could be 4.0. Which typically means, hey, for every dollar I'm spending, I'm getting $4 back.
Yep.
In gross profit, not revenue, but gross profit. And then we track MLER, so management labor. That part of my labor is included in there. My people's salaries are included in there, and if you have a VA, you would include them as well. But it's for the direct labor, there's something called contribution margin, which is basically how much management labor was involved with getting that direct labor number that we got. And that needs to be, between 3.5 and 4. So we do track that.
Okay. It's funny because, a key part of knowing your numbers is tracking your inventory, right? Because otherwise, how do you know what your margins are?
Right. And when I first started off, for the longest time, I would do gross profit, or I would look at my my COGS percentage.
Yep.
And I would say, hey, as a company, we need to be here. But as we've continued to expand our offerings and our services, I had to break it up to where I have that goal for individual departments. And it's, hey, how much, what's the percentage of money that I'm getting in for parts? Because I'll be the first one to admit it. It happened this year is when we separated everything out. And I was looking at, okay, instead of looking at this one number, let me look at these individually.
Yeah.
And buddy, I was losing so much money. I was losing my ass on phone parts because Nathan thought it was a brilliant idea to just price it off of an assumption. Hey, I'm going to pull this magic number out of my ass, and this is going to be my calculation on how I'm going to get customers in the door over my competitors and make money. Well, guess what? It looked good on paper, but in practice, if you don't know your numbers, right? If I didn't know this, then I wouldn't have been able to catch it. but I was able to look at everything and see, okay, I'm losing money on parts. So let's fix that. I know what I need to make on the labor side.
Yeah.
Now I need to figure out how much to make on the part side and what percentage I'm good with, and then start tracking that.
See, this is
But
the difference. This is where you go from just, hustling and fixing phones as, and actually running a business. This is, and I hope people listening to this are understanding. This is the type of work that it takes to get to that next level. This is what's called working on the business than working in the business. This is the only way that you can get to the point where you're not just a highly paid employee and you actually have a business. Uh,
yeah,
but it's a tough conversation because and it's tough and I would say I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, it took me much longer than it should have. But to transition out is tough and it takes time. It is rough, but it's worth the effort. I mean, it's just you have to do it.
yeah, no, you definitely do. And I mean, I think a lot of these metrics, a good part of these next metrics, your system should be able to help track a lot of these stores or for these stores. But we do track attachment rate for screen protectors against repairs. So
Mhm.
we don't carry cases. We've tried different varieties, we've tried different pricing, and we just because the vast majority of our clientele had historically been computer repair than over phone. Um, and we still do more computer repair than phone repair, but so what I focus on for the repair side for the phones is I look at and phones and tablets is I look at, okay, what is the attachment rate of screen protectors to screen repairs? You know, are we at 80%? Are we at 90%? Are we at 100%? Maybe we're at freaking 150% because a guy loved the idea of us selling the screen protector to his daughter's broken phone. He wanted to get one on his device as well. So that's important because if we're not, and the reason we do an attachment rate percentage versus a number, like, hey, I want you guys to sell 20 screen protectors this week. Okay, they can't control how many screen repairs come into
Exactly.
the store,
It has to be a percentage.
but they can track how many, how many screen protectors or accessories they can sell in addition to a repair.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they do have control of that. We track. So we track that. We track rush fees. So we track the number of rush fees that we receive, and with that, it's all based off of priorities. So, selling a priority service. So I have that's not a percentage because we have all of these check-ins. If I'm like, hey, I want you to sell $500 worth of rush fees this week, or $1,000 worth of rush fees this week, then obviously I expect that many rush fees to come through the door.
Yeah.
And that's like, hey, if I was in the store, that's what I would be doing at minimum. Um, we also check our new customers by advertising method. So we do that for a couple of reasons. One, it is good details to have, knowing how many of your check-ins are new versus how many are repeat customers coming through the door. And so, but we'll also break it down by advertising method. So that way I know, hey, shoot, damn, Best Buy sent me like 20 people last week. That's good. Let me go ahead and send them a pizza. Let me motivate them to keep this going, this momentum going. I can see that GameStop, sent me over, 3 PS5 repairs last week. So it's good to know, like, hey, where is your business coming from?
Yeah.
Is it coming from Google? Are you sitting there spending a couple $1,000s a month on advertising and you have no idea how to track that to a repair? Which I do, and I bet you Tony is going to in the near future if he hasn't already.
Mhm.
But if you don't know where your advertising money is going to, for new customers, Use something like advertising method. Like, hey, Google, how did your customers hear from you? And
Yeah.
make sure that it's when your employees are doing that, they're not just selecting Google. Like the customer has to say, hey, I found you online. Oh, okay, cool. Did you find this on Facebook, Google, Bing? Oh, I was actually on Facebook. Okay, well then you put Facebook. If it
The
was
best way, by the
Google,
way, I found, 'cause I've had a lot of people, not a few, push back on me saying, "Oh, well, I can't get my guys to answer to do that." Okay, well, that's not a them issue, that's a you issue. Number one,
it's
like let's be real, as the business owner, it's your problem. But here's the easy solution: is it requires you to check on that frequently. In the beginning, if you're having troubles with that or anything else, let's say your employees are just selecting Google every single time,
yeah,
Google, Google, you can see that. So if you check that on a daily basis or weekly basis, you can see, hey, what the heck? This guy is selecting Google for everything. Hey, bud, I need you to double check and make sure, stick to the rules. Actually ask them, this is important. If you don't, you're going to forfeit your commission, like we said. Right. And that's all why I
yeah.
love commissions and bonuses, because you can say, look, you have requirements in your job. If you're not meeting those basic requirements, you realize you are going to forfeit your commission. So please, I need you to ask, how did you hear about us? And when they say the internet, ask a follow-up. Was that on Google? Was it Facebook? Do you remember where you saw that? Information is important for us as a company, because if the more we know, and then we know where to target marketing, maybe we spend more marketing dollars there, or maybe, if we're not getting any traction on X website, then maybe I need to reevaluate, our strategy. But if you never check up on it, and then you just say, oh, well, my employees never do it. Well, when's the last time you checked up on them? When's the last time you went behind them? They're like, oh, I don't want to micromanage. It's not micromanaging, it's managing, period. That
Or when's the last time you brought it up to them?
Yeah. That's
Because one thing that I'm a firm believer of, and I my employees laugh when I say this, but legitimately your job title, if you have employees, is to be the chief reminding officer. I'm sorry, you may have all the information in your head and written in policies, but if you don't have a checklist that you're following to
Yep.
remind people, they're definitely not going to remember, right? They're focused on getting those 20 devices out the door. So that is very important. And being able to explain to your employees why you need them to do something. I find it a
Correct.
lot easier. And, Tony, you said it perfectly. Here's why we need that data. Don't just say, hey, I need you to do this. Explain why you need them to do this. Like, hey, I need this data because it's going to give me better insight into our marketing efforts.
Yep.
And which of course is going to drive check-ins, which is of course going to drive how much work you can
To
do
help you make more
and
money.
help
Right.
you make more money.
Yeah, I'm trying to drive traffic. This is data I need to drive more traffic into the business so you can earn more money.
Yeah.
But if you do
And
it
then
like
guess,
a lot of people do it as if they treat their kids, when the kids say, but why? Because I said so. Like that might work on a 3-year-old, but when you have a 27-year-old employee being told, oh, because I said so, that's why you need to do it, they're not going to do it.
yeah,
They have to know, hey, I'm doing this because A, it's for the betterment of the company, but it's also going to benefit me. And let's be honest, everybody cares about me. And so if it benefits
yeah,
me, I'm interested. But if I don't know why I need to do it, if I don't know why it benefits me, I'm not that interested. But if I know, oh, hold on, this is going to help Nathan, with the marketing. This is going to help us get more leads. I'm going to get more money. And oh, well then, yeah, why didn't you say so earlier? Right. And but people just don't communicate well enough. And it's a simple solution. It's just, yeah, man, this is why I need you to do set the standards, set the training, and then remind them follow. It's the same thing as like selling accessories or protection plans. So people who
yeah.
don't sell accessories, then I look at stores that have a sub 10% accessory attachment rate. My guys can't sell for crap. Well, when's the last time you trained them? When's the last time you did a raw session and you trained them? Where's your script? What script? I don't have a script. So you don't have a script. When's the last time you trained them? Oh, I mean, we went over that like when they got hired. Like, and this is a true story. Like, wait, what? Yeah, like you don't do weekly trainings. You don't do daily, weekly, or monthly trainings. I mean, when I have time. Oh, dude, every single month you're missing out on literally thousands. Like my stores, all of my stores, I don't, I can't remember the last time. again, not doing this as a flex, but it's to paint that picture. I don't remember the last time we did less than $3,000 in accessory sales in a single month.
Yeah.
But like the average store out there that I know of almost always does less than 1,500 consistently. And I'm like, it's because you're not training. It's not hard. And when I say training, you don't have to do a ton. I mean, I'm talking about, shoot, you could be the intelligent way of doing it if you wanted to like really, really get crazy with it. Have your employees clock in 20 to 30 minutes early before, like, let's say you open at 10. You know what? Have them come in at 9 or 9:30 and pay them. And every morning, or at least a few times a week, have you don't train on sales every day, but every day of the
Yeah.
week you have certain topics you're going to cover, right? Highlights, things that maybe we could do better on, praise them for good work. I mean, just have that 20-minute session, whatever, that goes over, hey, this is where we are, this is where we need to be, this is how we get there. Hey, good job, Nathan. Hey, good job, Kevin. Hey, Josh, you screwed up. Like, whatever. But like you don't obviously publicly say that they screwed up in front of their other employees, but you want to at least once a week, man, just be like, hey, as a reminder, this is how we handle transactions, this is how we handle, accessory upsales. Don't forget to check the battery health, right? I've noticed that the amount of repairs we're doing where we're not really attaching batteries has slipped. I'm assuming we're not checking the battery health and the settings. Please make sure you're doing that, because if people are walking around with devices with a 68% battery health, but you didn't even offer it when they came in for a screen replacement, you did them a disservice and you did us a disservice. So please make sure you're like, these are simple things, and it's hard for people when they don't have things organized. Simply,
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, Nathan, I would say the easiest thing, you tell me if I'm stupid or not, get a whiteboard, slap it on the wall, and draw 6 lines and write the dang days of the week down and create a calendar and say, this day we're going to do this in the morning. This day we're going to do this. And every day you just have a pattern of just consistency. And the employees know, hey, Monday morning, we're going to review XYZ. Hey, Tuesdays, we're going to review XYZ. And it's not chaos. It's
Yeah.
also good for yourself. But if you don't have structure, yeah, man, your employees are going to be all over the place, because guess what? You're all over the place. But if you're structured, they're gonna respect you more. They're gonna listen to you. But if you're not structured, yeah, exactly. Look at that. If you're not structured, your employees know this. Your employees know. Like, one thing I will say this much. So when we were starting My Repair app, Jason and I were like, look, man, we are hiring intelligent people. We're hiring developers. One guy worked at Samsung, one worked at Amazon. We're hiring really freaking talented people who went to school for a hell of a lot longer than we did, who are honestly smarter than us. We have to step up our game. We have to do better as individuals. We have to be more organized, because we can't possibly have them look at us and go, who the hell are these guys? I don't have faith in the leadership of this company. So every day we're like, no, we need to be better than we were yesterday, because I don't want these super intelligent people with master's degrees who are the best of the best of what they do to look at me and go, who's this idiot? He's not organized, doesn't know what he's doing. I need them to look at me and go, damn, this is someone I can follow. This is someone I can trust. And you can't have that if you're disheveled, disorganized, and it's 9:55 and you're like, oh crap, what are we doing today? We're guys, we open in 5 minutes. Like, dude, when you're watching Netflix at 8:30 p.m. and you're 3 beers in, I'm sorry, but maybe you can turn off the Netflix and work on your business for half an hour.
Yeah. No,
It
I
is
agree.
it's your business. It's your livelihood. You're the boss. You're in charge. No one's gonna fix your business except for you. And it's like, if it's 8, 9, 10 p.m. and you're binge watching the whole new season of the Avatar, but your business is crumbling, it's like there's no one to blame. Don't go on
Yeah.
CPRST complaining that business sucks. You're the reason, unfortunately. But that's also the fortunate part, because that is the only thing you have control over, is how you are going to manage your business, how you organize your time. I would feel the suckiest part about this business would be if you were doing everything right and everything still sucked, then okay.
Yeah.
But if you can admit, like, hey, crap's all over the place because I'm all over the place, cool, congratulations. Guess what? It's only up from here. It's only going to get better if you put in the effort. And that's the nice part. And you don't have to sit there all night and figure everything out in one day. Just
Yeah.
sit there for 1 hour and think. And honestly, these days it's easier. Like, when I had to do it, it was harder. Now you can bounce your ideas and all your problems and everything off of ChatGPT. Just hit transcribe and talk for the next 30 minutes of your life. Just talk about your business. what you're doing, what you think is an issue you're having, potential solutions, what you're trying to get to, and guess what? ChatGPT is going to be your own damn assistant and be like, "Hey, you're on the money or you're not on the money. Have you considered XYZ?" It's never been easier to improve your business, and yet people still refuse to use it, and it blows my mind. Like, no, it's actually so easy. Use ChatGPT as your sounding board, and man, I mean, you'll benefit tremendously. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, just a little bit. So we do we do daily huddles. We
Yep.
do two in person each week, and then we do three virtual. So what I mean by virtual is I have an automated message that goes out every morning during those specific days that says, "Hey, I want you to respond out of each department, whether it's sales, tech. Hey, I want you to respond. You know, I want to hear about a win from yesterday, top three priorities that you plan on doing today, and then is there any blockers that you have or anything that you need?" So they send that out three times a week, and then two times a week we do a 15 to 30 minute and face to face one where it's my techs. We do it at 9 to 9:30, and then my sales we do 9:30 to 10. That
Yep.
way, when the you know customers are coming in, I don't need technicians going out front first thing in the morning. So as soon as the doors open, technicians are with me. We're going over everything. As soon as they're done, then we bring in the sales, hopefully after the rush of folks. And so what we cover in that on Monday, we're going to talk about, okay, here are the metrics from last week. Let's see, hey, how much revenue did you invoice? Like, and this is specific to the text. Like, hey, how much revenue did you invoice last week? Okay, how many tickets did you close? Right? Because if I have a technician that's pushing out, you know, I don't know, let's say $8,000 from last week, and he closed, 28, 36 tickets, and I have a technician that closed the same amount of tickets but only invoiced, $3,000 last month. Well, that's a problem that we probably are going to want to talk about
Yep.
and dig in a little deeper into. And then guess what? Now we're doing things like we're doing ticket review, right? You're looking at, okay, how's the ticket? Did you do your diagnostics? Let me go ahead and pull the diagnostic report, or hey, let me look at what we suggested or recommended. And that's covering a couple of things. I for my techs, I also track their average dollar. So it's not average dollar per transaction, because so traditionally in business, you always should track average dollar, right? What's the average amount of money that your customers spend with you?
Mhm.
So we do average dollar per every unique customer and per tech. And I know, hey, we want to be at 225 for every, that's our average, or 250. Then I'm looking at, okay, are we maximizing on the opportunities that are in front of us? So we'll go over their stuff. And while we're going through all of their metrics, we're also, guess what? We're also auditing, right? Because I'm too busy. I don't have time to sit down and go through everybody's tickets. So I'm going to do spot checks on Monday in the daily huddle or at the beginning of the weekly huddle, and we're going to look all of that information over. And I'm not going to do it for every single ticket, but I'll pull one from each tech, just random. I'll say, hey, okay, this one was super simple, great, move on. Um, and then the same thing with the sales guys. We'll go ahead and pull their tickets, or if they had a customer who we created a ticket because the customer was looking at buying a device from us or whatever, and we had to do some additional labor work to it. um, so we'll go through, and also for the sales team, one of the things that we do is we pull a sales call, right? So I don't, you have to do call review. Well, I don't have time to listen to 20 million calls. So guess what? Now we're going to do a live sales call,
Yep.
and I'm going to listen to the call. And then I'm going to be like, okay, how do you think that call went? Perfect. Well, guess what? We're going to role play, and I'm going to respond. You're going to be the customer, same situation. I'm going to respond. And then I'm going to go through and kind of go through, hey, this is what I did. And then we're going to stop, and I'm going to be like, okay, what do you think was different from your call versus my call? right? Active training.
Yep.
It's not hard. You can be creative with how you do it, but you do have to do it. You have to do it consistently. And knowing your numbers is a big part of that. Another thing that we do, which if you guys don't already do this, Tony, I would definitely recommend, um, is a CSAT rating. You
Yep.
know, how is your company's, because yeah, there's Google reviews that kind of help, but knowing, but
If
not
you're gonna like,
everybody's
oh,
going to submit a Google review.
yep.
There's a lot of people that'll leave a survey, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
And you can automate that to where it goes out right after a ticket is closed,
Yep.
and to get that, hey, are you? And it can be a super easy survey. Hey, was it good, bad,
Hmm.
or incredible? And then you can get active feedback from your customers. And so I'm like, hey guys, I don't want us to ever have a lower than 97% or a 90% CSAT rating.
Shameless plug. We do have that, and we even have an analytics page. Well, actually, we'll analyze. It'll use AI to analyze the reviews that your store gets. So it's all internal. So we actually built this out because this is the CSAT score that gets passed on to all the insurance companies that we work with. So this is what's actually going to allow them to determine if a shop can work with them or not. So they don't go off Google because Google can be manipulated. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, this too, but way less because we can
Nice.
easily tell if you're putting in fake tickets. It's not hard. But yeah, so it'll pull all your data and then it actually analyzes your reviews and then will give you feedback on it. Like what are you doing well according to your reviews? What are you doing well? What are you doing poorly on? Stuff like that. Uh, it's super, super important. And then like if you get a sub 5-star review, you can actually respond from here. This is obviously a fake account. I don't have anyone here, but like if I had like a 3-star,
Yeah.
you could literally just respond to them from here. But yeah, that's
Nice.
super, super important because yeah, I mean, CSAT for at least for us, for sure, it's like that is ultra, ultra important for the future because any and all these companies that are willing to work with local with repair shops are like, yeah, well, how do we know we can, they do good work? And we've had
Yeah.
discussions with them, and they're like, Google reviews, like, no, we don't trust that crap because literally anyone can go and just make fake emails and get, or post a link, say, hey, leave me 5-star reviews, like.
No.
But like internally, that would require you making because it's only one per ticket, so you'd have to make a ticket, send it in, and if you're just using the same profile, we can clearly see it'll flag it on our end. But then also, if you have a whole bunch of blank tickets but you're getting reviews, fraud. So no matter what you do, is either going to be flagged for fraud or you're going to completely skew up your reporting because now you're going to have a bunch of tickets with nothing on them. So and they know that the insurance companies aren't exactly stupid. So mean,
Yeah.
you don't have they have more analysts on staff than the average repair shop has period employees period. Like people who
Yeah.
literally, masters or PhDs who literally analyze like that their whole job is weed out fraud. It's like you're not gonna outsmart a whole department of people with more people in your entire company. All they do is look at fraud all day long and so
Right.
but anyway.
Yeah, and so let me quickly roll through
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
if we wanted to have so I'll quickly roll through this, and if we want to build commentary afterwards, that's great. So my primary metrics. So the other metrics I was talking about are things that we track on a weekly basis, right? Like those are I would refer to those as like more activity based metrics that are going to help funnel into our monthly company metrics, or those are going to be the weekly metrics are the ones that are more activity based that if done well are going to
Yep.
have us show really good monthly metrics,
Yes.
which I do. And I'm going to start from top to bottom, and I ordered it in this way for a reason. We have Q12. So Q12, for those of you that aren't familiar, think of it as like your employee satisfaction rating, right? Like Q12 is a survey, sends out to the employees, and it says, hey, you know, how do you like working here? Would you refer your friends and family? Like it does a bunch of questions, and then we get a number at the end of it, at a 5. My goal is, hey, I always wanted us to be above a 4.5. If we're not, let's figure out why. Because it's anonymous. It also it gives your employees insight or it gives you insight into, hey, I don't want employees really feel about working here. Am I doing a shit job as a manager? Or am I crushing it and employees feel valued, they feel important, they feel all of the mushy gushy crap, Um, so it tells us that because, in my opinion, employees are number one. Then there comes the customers, right? The CSAT rating. That tells us, hey, now that my employees are fat and happy, are my customers fat and happy? Or are they, I mean, I would prefer for them to be broken happy because then I'm fat and happy. But, anyways, moving on. So, CSAT rating.
As long as you're happy.
Exactly. We do also track on a monthly basis, in addition to weekly, our Google reviews, because that's always important. Company revenue is the next one, in stores, and then I break that down a little bit. In store sales. The reason we have that as a metric this year is because I said, hey, I want to be able to make sure that we are selling more retail sales, which for me is like, laptops, phones, tablets, game consoles, etc. So I'm like, hey, I want to get $250,000 worth of retail sales, or maybe it was $500,000. I don't remember what my goal was, but I want to say, hey, I want that in retail sales. So we track that monthly. Direct DLER, MLER, direct labor efficiency ratio, management labor efficiency ratio. If you guys want to go back in time a little bit on this recording, or if there is going to be a recording posted, go back in time and hear when I was talking about that. Cost of goods, so the number amount and then the percentage. What's my cost of goods percentage? But I have that broken down by department. So I have, hey, what's my COGS percentage for phone repair? What's my COGS percentage for computers, for managed services? And then, what's my gross, and then after that, I have, okay, gross profit. I know in order for me to hit because I can have the best revenue in the world, but if I have terrible margins and not paying attention to that, I could have the shittiest gross profit.
Yep.
Or the gross margin. So gross margin is on there as well. After that, I have total company MRR. You guys have seen Tony post about this a lot. My repair app. Go ahead and get subscribed so you can start earning some of this. We track company MRR, right? I want to know how much reoccurring revenue do I have coming in? Because guess what? The reoccurring revenue, as little as it may be, compounds over time. Mm-hmm. And if you can have about $500,000 a year worth of reoccurring revenue spread across 12 months, then you can start paying for benefits. You can start doing more bonuses. You can pay higher on the bases. Like those are things that are going to help drive your profitability. And then net operating income dollar amount and net operating income percentage. Are we making money at the end of all of that? And you have to set a goal and a target for that. Hey, how much money do I want the business to make after it's all said and done? That I can either reinvest into the business to hire more staff, because you may be like, hey, damn, we're so busy. I need to go ahead and hire. Well, can you afford it?
Yeah.
Have you ran the numbers? Do you have enough net operating income at the end of the day to reinvest back into the business to do that? If the answer is no, okay, well, how many months would it have to take for you to get there? So those are, and I probably have some more that I'm not bringing up. I do track a lot. I dive deep because there are certain areas that I want to make sure that, we're getting right and I pay attention to it. That's working on the business versus in the business. Yeah. And so.
But that's what allows you to not only thing is, I know some people are probably listening going, holy crap, right? He has so many different categories he tracks. He's too anal or whatever. But this is what allows you to know what you can specifically target to increase the business, because it's harder to do the opposite and to track it very little and go, revenue's down, we need to go up. Well, how? That's the thing that's probably the most frustrating thing with the CPRST post when people are like, is everyone else slow these days? Well, what do you mean? They're like, well, we normally see more customers. Okay, so be specific. It's just like how, when a customer calls your store, they're like, my phone dumb broke. How much to fix it? You don't just spit out a price. You're like, well, what kind of phone do you have and what's wrong with it, right? Same thing here. People are like, business is slow. I'm like, okay, tell me more. I need to know specifics. Are you getting less phone calls? Are you getting less traffic? Are you having less overall repair tickets? How are your sales? How are your accessory attachment rates? Are you actually slower, or are you performing worse? Are you converting poorly, or are you just simply actually seeing less walk-in traffic, less phone calls. And most people don't know the answer because they don't track that. And if you don't track it, you can't measure it, and you can't fix it if you don't measure it. And so people may listen and be like, holy crap, what Nathan just said is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but this is what allows you to go beyond, again, being a highly paid employee, having 2 locations, 3 locations, 5, 10. I know people that have a lot more than 10 locations. And it's crazy, but their whole job is like, I know a guy, I can't name names because they asked me not to say it, but they have over 10 locations. They have 3 people who their entire job is just managing the managers. Just basically what you just said, just managing the numbers. That's what they do across all their locations. They just manage the numbers. They just make sure that all their KPIs are being met. And if the KPI is not met, okay, let's look at that one. Why is this one lower? What happened? But if you're just like, we have revenue, and that's what I track. It's like, and if it goes down, good freaking luck figuring out why it's down. But if you break it down
Yeah.
category by category, employee by employee, it is so much easier to know when crap does happen, you know why. You can quickly inspect. But if you don't track that stuff, yeah, you're like, oh man, business is slow, and then you're just kind of flying blind. And it's not hard to do. I mean, I hope most or all point of sale systems give you a lot of that data already. As long as you're actually having each employee log in under their own username, when they do a transaction, they're the ones adding the parts or their services to the ticket, and they're collecting payment under their login where they're not staying logged in and then walking away from the computer doing something else, and another employee takes over and starts doing things and they don't switch users. Like, these are all factors to take in, but then that also allows you to have accurate data in terms of which employee is doing which. And it's a learning curve, but it's one of those things where if you do it, man, does life get so much easier. It sounds daunting what Nathan just said, and it
Yeah.
is at first. And that is because it is. It's not something that, oh, well, hey, I'm gonna knock it out this weekend. Now that Nathan said this, I'm just gonna spend this weekend knocking it out. No, it's more like, realistically, if you start cracking away at this for 30 minutes to an hour a day, you'll hopefully be ready by next summer.
Yeah.
Ish. You'll have a good foundation. You still won't be where you need to be probably, but I mean it takes a long time. But it's so worth it because then you can scale and have time. Because right now Nathan has 2 choices. He can continue to scale or he can chill where he is and enjoy his life and work minimal hours. That's the truth. If he really wanted to, he could probably work 15 hours a week and live a comfortable life. Can you?
Yeah.
And that's the answer. Like anyone who questions it, I'm like, okay, can you work 15 hours next week and the week after next and the week after next and still live comfortably? If you can't, then I would say swallow the pride and listen to what he just said and implement it. Because that right there, that is the stuff that will allow you to work minimal hours if you so choose, after having spent an unbelievable amount of time building out the systems. Or if you want to keep on hustling and grinding and working 60, 70 hours a week and growing more locations, hey, more power to you, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. But you have that luxury versus
Yeah.
if you don't build systems, your only choice is pedal to the metal and hopefully we survive until, until next month, basically.
Or until one of us buys you out.
Yeah, and oh boy.
But no, I mean, and that's the truth. Being able to look at things and have the right data for you and your business from like a bird's eye view to be able to help diagnose the issues is really important. There are people that are like, oh, we're slow, but yet they're not maximizing on those devices that are coming in when they're slow. Or
Mm.
they can be like, man, we're fast, but we're way too fast. And I'll tell you from experience, when it gets fast is usually when people start forgetting shit because everybody feels so chaotic and being pulled in 50 million directions. And that's also the time, but that's also the most important time to make sure that you're following your processes. Because if you are and you're maximizing and you're doing all of the things and you have the data to support it, well, then you're able to look at that versus, well, it gives you the ability to look at that and reward your technicians or be like, hey, we were freaking busy. Why didn't we make a lot of money this week?
Hmm.
Oh, well, it's because your technicians were flying through all of the devices and doing, the bare minimum, like every other shop around you, to just get shit out the door. So, they didn't do any accessories or batteries or, RAM or SSDs or, protection plans or, they didn't offer any of that. And, you're wondering why, when business is busy and you feel like money's flowing and it's all good and gravy, but at the end of the day, shit's falling to the wayside and you're expecting and you're like, man, we're busy, we're doing great, we're making money. Let me go ahead and open up another store. That store doesn't start performing as your first one started or was, and you continue on that path. And I guarantee you, and I could be wrong by saying this, but I bet you that there's like companies out there that have more than 20, 10 to 20 stores that every single one of them could be a hell of a lot more profitable, but they're focused more on scale. I want to scale and because that boosts their ego.
Yeah.
When I mean, I did that too. We went up to 4 locations. I was ecstatic. I was like, man, we got 4 locations. We're gonna make money. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? We didn't. And we actually ended up whenever renewal time for rent because we couldn't justify staying in those spots. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's just fold up those 2 stores, consolidate down to 2, and focus on the basics again.
Yeah.
And now I make more money with 2 stores than I ever did with 4.
Yeah.
And we're just going to continue to grow and scale until I'm giving. I feel like that we can continue to grow and scale, by at least 5 to 10x over the next 2 to 3 years with our 2 locations, and won't even need to move to another region until we're satisfied with the ones that we're in.
Yeah. And the only way you're able to do that is because you've spent enough time figuring out how to replace yourself, and that way your time is spent on bringing more business to the business, right?
Yeah.
Because it's honestly it's easier to just turn a screwdriver and do that. It really is. It's for me. It was I love, dude. Put me in put a box of phones in front of me or tablets. Like I'll knock them out in 2 seconds. Like it's fun for me. I love it. I'll do it. But it was probably the hardest thing in the world for me to be like, okay, I can't do repairs anymore. I still do like very rarely, just because I kind of like to. But I mean, on occasion, if we get like, could I still work out of our main store in the back here? If we get like super slammed, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll help out for like 20 minutes. But thankfully, I will say, or maybe not thankfully, maybe we're not that busy anymore. But like once or twice a week, I'll do that. But otherwise, I have to trust that they can handle it without me. That's the hardest part. For me, I'm a control freak through and through. I want things done a certain way. I do not want other people. I don't. I want to be in charge of every interaction. I want every customer of mine to. I want them to, to be treated the way I want to treat them. But it's like you can't do that. There's only so much you can do, and you have to do what you can to duplicate yourself,
Yeah.
for lack of better words, and but also understand that if you don't make it stupid obvious and have basically SOPs for everything. If people say, "Oh, you know what, you always have to settle for like 90% of yourself." No, you're gonna settle for like 60% of yourself if things aren't detailed, if they're not very, very well written out. You get 80 to 90% of yourself when you have everything written out really well, and your employees don't have to come to you to ask, "Hey, what do I do in this situation?" But that's a tough
Yeah.
one, but it's worth it. But yeah, so I'll say, Kevin, man, that's when you get these higher interviews coming in, yeah, definitely. I hope at least one of them is someone you guys jive with quite well and get along with, and that'd be nice because there's nothing quite like it's hard, but nothing quite like getting to that point where you have more time to focus on figuring out other ways of generating business for money for the business and generating like either more leads or putting in programs in place that allow you to make more per transaction. Um, it's really fun. It's a different type of challenge. And so like if you're the type of person that likes a challenge, it's great because now it's a different problem, right? You're just
Yeah.
problem solving, but you're solving a different type of problem.
That's what I'm looking forward to is I've got all these ideas and things, plans I want to do. I just can't do it because I'm in the store too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's the fun part. It's I know a lot of people like look at it like so daunting or something like that. I'm like, well then kind of good because if you weren't scared, you probably wouldn't give it your all. But if you are worried, if like I was terrified. Like when we were okay, so the stores are one thing. I'll say this much. When we started doing my repair app, when we were first talking about it, I was just like, don't want to do it. Not a fan. I don't like this idea at all. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Until we realized we had to like we just were like, dude, we have to do this. This is the path forward. And it was terrifying because I realized I'm like, dude, we are going to have to hire a lot of people that are very expensive. We do not have the money. um we have to figure this out. And it was at that point where I think once we were like 5 months in is when we realized we are past the point of no return. We cannot give up. We can't like stop. It's too late and we're way too invested. And we're just like, oh shoot. Uh Pedal to the metal. And if we were awake, we were working. Like that was it. It was work, sleep, work, eat, sleep. Um, but that fear of I have no choice, and if I don't, I'm gonna fail is what pushed us to just you figure it out. Like you just figure it out. But it wasn't, but I will say, thankfully, we didn't like we had spent years of thankfully we kind of naturally like consuming business content, right? So if I'm watching something or listening to something, it's usually some sort of a podcast of some dude who started from the ground up and built 100 million or $1 billion company and exited, and they talk
Mm.
about all the things like so I had that idea always in my back of my mind, hearing at this point who knows how many hundreds of examples of people who started from scratch and then 8 years in, hey, our company now does 75 million a year. Our company does 50 million a year, 100 million a year. And hearing them how like they were grinding for like 5 years straight solo and failure after failure after failure. And they're like, dude, I was ready to call it quits until finally we kind of figured it out. And just like hearing how realistically most people that try fail for sure. And even those who succeed failed hard before they succeeded. And but it's I guess kind of we live in such an interesting era where you can consume more real life stories, hopefully they're real, right? People who failed but then they succeeded based off that failure, and you can learn out their failure. But it's usually easy to determine, who's full of crap, right? The guys who are full of crap are the ones that are like, I just woke up and all of a sudden I prompted AI to do this for me and it made me my whole app. Like, you're full of crap. But the ones that are real are the ones that like actually have some level of detail, but then they talk about
Yeah.
failing, and you're like, yeah, yeah, I know this is real because everyone fails. Those guys are like, I never failed. Like, you're so full of crap. You're lie. Absolutely not true.
Yeah.
But there's like limitless content out there. So, um, I would say for anyone who is wanting to grow their business, and if you're not already consuming content from people who have been where you are and are now miles ahead, I would personally.
I
I
would.
think,
I still do.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, all the time. We have our like between me and Jason are like a lot of what we listen to, like one of our larger, I would say, influencers has been Alex Hormozy. That guy, intelligent as can be. He's one of them, but like to this day, I still listen because like, I
Yeah.
know like a lot of stuff already said. Yeah, this stuff I already knew 4 years ago from him, but still good to be reminded of it. And yeah, like if you're a business owner or wanting to be a business owner and you want to get to the next level, one of the best things you can do is be less arrogant, less prideful, and listen to those people who have done it. Because they've done it, you haven't.
Yeah. And start to surround yourself, especially your employees, as I should be the dumb, I am the dumbest when it comes to repairs. And I'm proud to say that. Like you put me in the tech room, I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail hard. But that's okay, because that's not my job anymore.
Oh, actually,
Um,
you just reminded me. I'm sorry, but there's a guy, oh gosh, I forget his name. I think Alan Beck. I think mega millionaire, has a incredible software company that where they basically do a lot of automate sales, whatever. But like so what's really interesting, he said something that's really cool. It's very intelligent. He said, "Don't waste your time listening to these business influencers who are not in your direct business. If they're not doing the same thing you're doing, don't waste your time." For like
Yeah.
meaning he's like, if you're like okay, so if you're in a software business, don't spend your time listening to a podcast to a person who's like, here's how I went from one restaurant and now I own five restaurants. Like it's not relevant. You might get something out of it, but like if you really truly want to excel at your particular thing, find people who are in the exact same vertical as you and have excelled.
Right.
And since we started doing that, oh yeah, so much better. I mean, because again, like my background prior to a few years ago was not software, right? And so I was like, okay, well, let me listen to people who did build these massive software companies because even though maybe it might be a different type of client, it's still a lot of similarities in terms of customer experience, users, all that stuff. And so I would say, there's a lot of people out there that have podcasts on retail. And so we are retail. Especially, I mean, retail slash some level of repair or refurbishment. It doesn't even have to be electronic related because there's a lot of stuff you can refurbish. I've seen people that talk about they have businesses where they recycle oh gosh, I think it was actually I think it was one was textiles. Very interesting. It's clothing. Similar concept though, because it's still like this. It's all about like a circularity movement. So for those that are in this space, a really easy way to find very very relevant podcast and stuff is look up circularity or reverse logistics because that's all either repair and or return stuff, which they kind of run hand in hand a lot of times. So uh, more industry specific stuff is definitely going to go further than we're in the phone repair business and then we're like, all right, let me listen to this, to this person talk about how they opened up their bakery. Like you might get something out of it, but not as much as you would as something that's a little bit more specific to what we're doing. So don't just
Yeah.
go business
And
podcasts, right? And then listen to
yeah.
random business podcasts.
And one of the things that I love about especially the CPRS group is there's a lot of folks in there that are really good at other areas of the business that we lack in, like retail sales, for example. Reached out to a couple of heavy hitters, Jason, for example, and a couple of other folks about, hey man, I want to increase my my retail sales. How the hell do I do that? Like I know how to sell,
Yeah.
right? But I haven't, what are some of the things that you do? Oh, have you tried posting on Marketplace? Have you, do you have your inventory listed on your website? Are you SEO optimized for that? Like all of these other things. And I'm like, man, we freaking suck at this. I'm terrible. Like, no wonder. But if I would have learned, if I didn't, we have a huge network with CPRS. Like, if you're not in there, gonna bitch, whine, and whine and complain, you know, if you can get all around a lot of those posts, there are some really, really good educated people in certain areas of the business.
Yeah.
Reach out to them, get their knowledge, figure out how in the heck did you scale your this department. I see you killing it on phone repairs. Okay, well, normally they'll reach out and try to learn about your business a little bit, kind of your economics, because they could be doing 33 phones in a week, but they could also be, or 33 phones in a day, I mean,
Yeah.
but they could also be in Chicago,
Yeah.
and you're not. You're in Greensboro, or
Yeah.
well, of course you're not going to get the same volume,
Yeah.
but you could also be like, okay, well, how does how many team members do you have? Damn, you only have two people managing that, or a team of five or four or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you manage all of that work? So that way, as you start growing and scaling, you can kind of take pieces away from the good people.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of what we're trying to do with these roundtables. I mean, A, just sometimes just to kind of chat, but B, it's like there's a lot of information that I think a lot of people just don't, nobody knows everything. And there's no better way to know what you don't know than by talking about it. And, unfortunately, so much of the groups are just nonsense. It's complaints, it's drama, it's, oh, I paid this guy for a phone and he ghosted me. It's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have done that. Um, very little, here's how we can get better together. And I think a lot of it, I might be wrong, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are so insecure in the fact that they don't have to be the only one successful to be successful. Well, God forbid I help my competitors. And
Oh yeah.
it's like, oh no, it's like, dude, there's way more business out there. Okay, so here's a statistic that people don't. I've said it before. 99% of repair shops don't know this, and this is one of the driving factors why I'm so passionate about what we do. 10 years ago, the global market for electronics that are insured was about $13 billion a year. Okay. Fast forward to today, 10 years later, it's sitting at right around 41 billion. All right, so nearly 4x in 10 years. It's estimated that in 5 years, it's going to exceed 80 billion. So over the last decade, we've seen a decline in same-day repair. We've all seen it. It peaked about 10 years ago, and it's been on a decline overall. If you look at least overall like hardware repair. Obviously, some markets vary, but nationally, it's gone downhill little by little. So it took 10 years to go from 13 billion to 40 billion. Now it's estimated to go, it's going to take 5 years to go from 40 to 80, which means whatever decline we saw over the last 10 years, it's going to happen twice as fast in the next 5 years. So
Yeah.
whatever decline you've experienced, it's going to get worse fast. So that's why it's so important to really dial in on your business and figure out how you can maximize the opportunities. It's not just about break, fix, screen repair. There's a billion things. You're a great example as to what that is. On our end, that's why we're trying to do so much with connecting the insurance companies with the repair shops, because I'll tell you
Mhm.
this much, I've had the conversation with these insurance companies. They are very aware of the fact that as good as that is going to be for them, it's also going to be a major problem because it's going to it's eventually the logistics of shipping devices back and forth. Like they're not immune to the issues with FedEx and UPS that we all have. They have it at far worse scale. And they say, okay,
Yeah.
if the business is going to double from here, which means shipping volume is going to double, we don't think that that's going to be good. We're going to have even more people having problems. And so it's a poor customer experience. And also that means their expenses are only going to go up. And so they're as eager as us to be able to send repairs to local businesses so they don't have to pay for express shipping both ways, deal with delays, deal with customers that go, damn it, I had to wait 3 days for this phone. I'm glad I got it fixed, but now I'm going to cancel my subscription because I'm not waiting 3 days again.
Yeah.
And so the alternative they all agree with is, hey, if we can tell people go 13 miles down the road, you'll get it fixed within 2 hours. It's cheaper for them and it's a much better customer experience. They get their stuff back right away. Done. And so, but seeing how fast that's progressing, oh dude, like if people think the last 10 years was a good bit of a decline, it's again twice as bad in the next 5 years.
Yeah. And back to your original point about the if people are afraid to post because they don't, because of competition, maybe they're competitors in the group. It doesn't matter because they're like, to your point, right? Then there's going to be, if there is, well, I mean, there is, but there's going to be even more meat on the bone for people to take advantage of. And guess what? Our stores aren't perfect. There are things that we are weaker in to where, hey, if we're slower, okay, maybe we're going to take them on because it not only gives, us the business, but it also produces that training, that additional training for our staff. But, when it is busy, guess what? You leverage your competitors.
Oh yeah.
You figure out what they're stronger in, you refer people over there. Customers, whether they stay with you or not, they're going to appreciate the fact that referred them to somebody else. And guess what? Maybe there's something that you do really well that their friend had a need for.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter that you don't want your competitors to succeed over you. Like, obviously, we're all in business to make money, and there is competition, yes, but we should. But a lot of the times, if it's not a shit business or a shit store, leverage each other's strengths, build that relationship, and you know, continue focusing on growing your baby, not theirs. Unless you just want a job and, then that's a different story. But if you want a business, there's
Yeah.
plenty of meat on the bones. You leverage your competition as, great referral sources. I mean, shoot, we have, you guys know him, Bo Dorsey. He's the champion,
Oh
the
yeah.
HDMI champ. He's got stores around mine too. But guess what? We we throw stuff back and forth to each other all the
Yeah.
time
I mean,
because
case in point.
we know what we're all good at.
Yeah. Look at Jason Bain. He's also a great example of that.
Yeah,
I forget how many at this point. He's got a lot of local businesses that send him repairs virtually on a daily basis. He has, if I understand correctly, he has more business coming in from the other repair shops in his area at this point than he has come from his own walk-in traffic.
yeah.
He's built up such a great relationship with so many shops because they're like, well, we don't do micro soldering, or we only do this extent of it. He's like, why ship it to different states? I'm 6 blocks over, or I'm 8 miles down the road. Like, let me fix it, and reduce your turnaround time. And those people realize that it's in their best interest to work with a local person if it's an option, then ship something 6 states over and wait 3 times as long, because then you can obviously it's a poor customer experience. But then vice versa, right? You can just send people your it's a collaboration is not the death of your business. And on the contrary, it's going to help quite a bit. But at the
Or even that, real quick, or even that, create a relationship with them. And guess what? If they do a better job at micro soldering, then guess what? You check the device in, you set up a process for transport, and he charges you B2B price, you charge the customer B2C price.
Yeah,
It's a win-win.
100%. You get paid to do nothing other than literally check in the device and say, yeah, we'll have this
And
done.
drive it over. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, employee, go over there, drop it off, come back. Cool. And then tomorrow, hey, go pick it up. I mean, I know there's even courier services too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin. Pleasure, man. Always nice seeing you. Yeah, actually, wow, it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I got to get going
Yeah.
actually.
My
Thanks, guys. I appreciate all your input today.
Yeah,
It's
I appreciate
great.
it. I don't want to die. My wife's probably like wondering, why are you still on the computer?
Yeah, I got to go. We got a Christmas party for the business, so we're doing white elephant. I got to go get a gift.
Hey,
Nice.
nice. Cool. I'm
So,
gonna go and test a lot of crap because we got stuff happening.
hell yeah. Awesome,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Hey, thanks so much. Pleasure, man.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
See you guys.
See you guys.